You know how conservative media, conservative politicians love to talk about fake news on the left while failing to provide any actual evidence of fake news? Well, it turns out that must have been projection, because there's quite a bit of fake news happening on right-wing publications, and they got caught. They got busted and had to take these posts down. So they published opinion pieces by so-called experts that are actually just fronts for shady conservative Middle East propaganda campaigns. And of course, it pushes for more war and all this nonsense. And the people who publish these opinion pieces don't even exist. They don't exist. One example is the gentleman you're about to see a picture of, Rafael Madani. Oh, who are you, Rafael Madani? Well, Rafael Madani he claimed to be a geopolitical risk consultant with an expertise in economics and politics. And by the way, how legitimate does that look? It looks super legitimate, but it turns out his articles, which have been printed in the Washington Examiner, Newsmax, Real Clear Markets, American Thinker, and the National Interest, are just full of crap. Again, he doesn't exist, and the op-ed shouldn't have been published. There should have been proper vetting to begin with. So the Daily Beast looked into this and found out that the profile picture used in these opinion pieces is one stolen from a San Diego startup founder. Oof. And also, after the release of the Daily Beast article on this, Madani's profile has been deleted. His op-eds have been taken down from some of these publications. Newsmax deleted all articles by Madani and scrubbed his profile page, listing him as an insider, all without any editor's notes. The Post Millennial, the Jerusalem Post, and the National Interest also deleted their articles without any statement. By the way, just to give you a little more context into what was done in these pieces, Madani is part of a network of at least 19 fake personas, 19 guys, 19, that has spent the past year placing more than 90 opinion pieces in 46 different publications. The articles heaped praise on the UAE and advocated for a tougher approach on Qatar, Turkey, Iran, and its proxy groups in Iraq and Lebanon. So basically, these hawks who want to engage in more war abroad.
So I'm going to give you a twist here on who I think might have done it. But first, some awesome details. So first of all, Newsmax called Madani an insider columnist. Well, I'm pretty sure he couldn't be inside your building if he doesn't exist. So all 46 of these are anywhere from relatively to completely conservative publications, and apparently have no standards at all. Obviously they never met Madani or any of these other writers because they are fictions. And how could he be an insider if you've never had a conversation with him? If you don't even know who he is, but they're like, oh, he's an insider, okay. And then just a fun fact, he was described as a geopolitical risk consultant and interactive simulation designer. What does that even mean? Like, it's just like a word salad, right? At first I thought it was interactive stimulation designer. I was like, ooh.
I'm sure that exists.
Oh, Madani. But okay,
been a bad Madani.
Yeah, that's right. I'm Madani with him. So I think part of the way that they got caught, Daily Beast didn't say this, but it kind of between the lines here. One of the 19 fake personalities claimed to be a ghostwriter for the Daily Beast, and the Daily Beast must have looked at them and be like, "Wait, we don't have ghostwriters. What the hell does that mean, right?" And then they looked up, they're like, "We've never hired this person. Oh my God, this person doesn't exist. Then who else doesn't exist, right?" So that's probably how all of this unraveled. And sometimes the Daily Beast drives me crazy with how establishment they are, but sometimes they do wonderful investigative pieces like this. So great credit to them on this piece. So now I also want to give you the folks who did not take it down. To me, that's the most amazing part. So, 40 some odd publications go, oh, ooh, we're busted. Okay, now people know we just make stuff up and we don't really care. We're conservative hacks, right? But Human Events and the Post Millennial are founded by Andy Ngo. Some of you guys might be familiar with him. His last name is NGO, and he does a lot of instigation here in America on behalf of far-right groups, and he's a notorious liar. And he's been proven to lie 1,000 times over, but yet people take it seriously, like, oh my God, it's Andy Ngo, what did he report? So these publications are not taking it down. They're like, yeah, good enough. But what difference does it make? Everything we say, basically what their admission is everything we say is fake. So what difference does it make if the fake news is delivered by a fake journalist or a real journalist? None of us are journalists, so it doesn't make any difference at all. But the part that drives me crazy, and I still got the twist coming up for you guys, but is that the mainstream media takes these publications seriously. They're like, oh, okay, well, those are real reporters. And then they'll get hired by CNN, they'll get hired by other people, they'll become like fancy White House corps. So this cancer then spreads into the mainstream media. On the other hand, they wouldn't hire a great journalist like David Sirota if their life depended on it. Sirota breaks one amazing story after another, and I can Ryan Grimm at The Intercept. I can give you a dozen examples, and that's about it. It's about 12 great journalists in America, and none of them would ever get hired by these publications. But clown hacks that work at these clown organizations get hired by CNN, New York Times, Washington Post all the time.
What was that? That name that your uncle called you once because you were like goofing around? Like, was it Pagliaccio or something like that?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
No, to be fair, it wasn't because I was goofing around. He just couldn't understand what a talk show host was. So he assumed that it was the equivalent of being a clown. So that's why he called me a Pagliaccio.
I love that story.
He just literally thought that I was a Pagliaccio.
Oh my God. No, so I bring that up because that's what news organizations that are part of a giant media conglomerate want. They want Pagliaccios. They don't want David Sirota, who, by the way, just published an excellent piece about how millionaires and billionaires are like literally illegally dodging their taxes. And the reason that they can do that is because the IRS has been defunded so successfully by conservatives, right? So the IRS just focuses on auditing little guys who really don't, that doesn't bring in much money when it comes to tax dodging. But when it comes to millionaires and billionaires, we're talking about like $300 billion a year nearly in lost revenue because of the way the system is set up. It's incredible. Yeah. And yeah, they don't want that covered in any media outlet, really, that's part of a conglomerate that has any type of financial interests at play.
Okay, so now here comes more fun in this story. So there's a couple of websites where some of the stuff originated and the bios lead back to, et cetera. Then once the Daily Beast publishes their story, those sites immediately shut down, i.e. they're the epicenter of the scam. One of them is called the Arab Eye, or was called the Arab Eye. They write on their website that they are a bulwark against fake news. That's awesome. They're amazing. They have no conscience. So they're just like, let's do fake news and say we're against fake news, which is honestly exactly what Donald Trump does. And here's another one from a similar publication. Oh, I'm sorry, this is in one of the articles written by one of the fake people, okay? They wrote, the landscape highlights a fascinating case study of how fake news can affect regional political discourse. And they were saying, oh, don't listen to anything on Al Jazeera. They're fake news, so you wouldn't want to listen to them. And then here's where the story gets serious. So these so-called writers targeted a person named waka Carmen. They're actually a Nobel Peace Prize laureate from 2011, and Facebook hired them to help curate news, from what I understand, as the Daily Beast explains. All these fake news folks targeted this guy and called her, I believe, said she had an extreme Islamist ideology, okay? And they thought Facebook should fire her. In other words, they wanted to cancel her. They made up things about her and they smeared her in an attempt to get her canceled, while the right wing pretends they're against canceling. So
everyone's full of it when it comes to cancel culture. Everyone.
Exactly. So now the twist. Everybody thinks that it's the United Arab Emirates because in a lot of the stories they say, oh, well, I'll tell you the one country that's doing amazing, United Arab Emirates. But Iran, we should invade. And Qatar is terrible and Turkey's terrible. Iran, Qatar, and Turkey have a very loose, complicated alliance that UAE, Saudi Arabia, and one other country is against. That's the one not being talked about here. The other country that's against that alliance is Israel. So as I saw how they did these fake personalities, here I'll give you one example from the Daily Beast. They say all the stolen avatars are mirror image reversed and cropped from their originals, making them difficult to find through common Google reverse image searches. Ain't nobody from the UAE doing that. Okay, you could say I'm a bad guy, but I would be shocked if UAE's intelligence operations were sophisticated enough to be able to hide the identities in the ways described in the Daily Beast. I don't know for a fact, so just take it for what it is. This part is speculation by me. I know a group that's sophisticated enough to do that. Their name is called Mossad. One of the articles that they, or many of the articles, they're like, remember, Iran is terrible because of what they're doing in Lebanon. Who's interested in what Iran is funding in Lebanon? So look, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it's UAE, Saudi Arabia, Israel, or the US, right? We're also part of that alliance. What matters is these 46 publications don't give a damn about journalism. All they care about is, and they would never clearly label something like I just did. Hey, look, this is my speculation. Okay, Daily Beast didn't report that, etc. I'm putting 2 and 2 together. You could put it together any way you like. But these publications, they don't care about any of that. They just think, does it fit the conservative ideology? Then print it. Who cares where it came from? I don't care if it's an intelligence operation or not. I don't care if it's spies or not. I don't even care if it's real or not. We just want to invade Iran. So let's go print things in here that'll get people riled up to invade Iran. So that's what this is about.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.